Starting with motivational speaking, I want everyone to feel great this morning. If you look to this slide here, you can see the world's best cities, the top 4 most livable cities: Melbourne, Vienna, Vancouver, Toronto, according to Economist Magazine's Intelligence Unit. Underneath, the most resilient cities, which are Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, 3 out of 4. These are the things that are important to us, that define those categories. But when I put architecture into Google, this is what I end up with. Some kind of strange examples you've already seen. And what I end up with is a lot of expressive form, often excessively expressive form with little indication of performance in any way. The scenes experience is being replaced a lot by checking in, liking things, updating things, selfies. The French philosopher Guy Debord predicted this in his book, The Society of the Spectacle, where he said, "All that was once directly lived has become mere representation. The spectacle is the inverted image of society in which relations between commodities have supplanted relations between people." And that was in 1967, in authentic social life. So what's authentic social life? We remain social creatures, rooted in tribal behaviors, in relationships, families, and friends. And the reality is that humanity hasn't changed for thousands of years. We're still governed by proportion, by a scale of space in which we feel comfortable, using our senses, using our bodies to move. Jan Gehl, visionary urban designer, said in January 2006, "The character of life between buildings changes with changes in the society situation, but the essential principles and quality criteria to be used when working for human quality in the public realm have proven to be remarkably consistent." To describe what could constitute authenticity in architecture, we can outline a few principles of design. First is people, community, and society. That's a safe, healthy, and attractive place to live, work, and recreate, a place of opportunity and prosperity, a community of cohesion and inclusion, a place of character and identity. Second is economic strength and endurance, a basis on economic realities and sound principles, a place of employment and stability, research, education, and work. People bring wealth, and we need to design places for people. The third is environment, climate, and energy, which is minimizing energy use and leveraging the scale of the site for sustainable advantage. Positive sensory experience, responsible use of materials for building and construction, encouraging and considering relationships with pre-existing natural conditions and patterns, and understanding the relationship with existing buildings and the context and role that collective memory plays in our city building. And fourth, movement and access, which is providing transportation and movement options, creating opportunities to and reasons to spend time in the community, establishing a public realm that encourages occupation and a variety of ownerships, and enabling universal design and access for all, and ensuring safety. So you might think from what I've said that perhaps I'm not an advocate of technology, but I'm opposed to social media, resisting digital opportunity, but the opposite's true. In fact, some of you probably are following me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I do the full program. I'm definitely using social media. But the considerations for design are the same with or without technology. These are block size and typology, which is walkable streets, buildings that have principal entrances facing public spaces. That's streets, parks, plazas, not parking. Appealing streets, which minimize street frontage faced with garage, service bays, and curb cuts. A pedestrian life that's not faced by constant service and cross traffic. Safety predicated in natural surveillance. So continuous sidewalks on both sides of the street, active uses facing doors, streets, windows, and a mixture of public and semi-private space. And temporal context, which is particularly important for us, a built form that understands the time of day, time of year, variations of climate. These are all different. Offers opportunities for shelter, shade, windbreak, and reuses spaces differently at different times. And spaces for all, inclusive and universal design. Now, we've redefined this. This is a picture in Rio de Janeiro of a park for more senior people who exercise right adjacent to the children's playground. But what the term that we've come up with for this is not aging in place, but cradle to coffin. So from when people are born to when they die, we need to provide all of those spaces and accommodate multi-generational activity. So what I'm really saying is that technology is the way forward. In our office, we use Revit, which is a kind of BIM. I'm sure that most of you, or many of you, are familiar with it. We've been using it for years, and though it assists very much in the economy of our work, as an industry, we're only scratching the surface. of its performance, especially in terms of actually using the data that's embedded for ongoing building management. And we're also beginning to use the capabilities of plugins like this, which is called Safera. This allows us to understand the qualities of performance in the early stages of design. And by using this in Revit, we can see the qualities of daylighting, energy usage, material effectiveness, and allow that to inform our design process. There's a lot of talk these days about 3D printing, how it's going to change everything that we do, and in fact, I don't think it's going to supplant industrial process, but because we've got a 3D printer, and I can see if you're going to print a house, like you're going to be dead by the time it arrives. But what it is very useful for is actually testing things. For testing, excuse me, testing ramps, building elements, complete buildings, blocks, even master plans. And it's a way out for us without disrupting our newfound digital process. So here's something unrelated, an image of slums in Mumbai. 55% of Mumbai's population live in slums. 50,000 families live on Mumbai's sidewalks. I've been showing images of things, well, a lot of our projects to be honest, mostly in Canada, which is a very different place than India. But if you look to this graph, you can see that there's something shockingly similar, which is that the growth rate of Canada and India is almost exactly the same, 1.2% to 1.3% in India. Now, their population is obviously a lot bigger to start off with, but the proportional change is the same for us, and that doesn't even account for the urbanization of populations. Some estimates say 80% of the world's projected 10 billion people will live in cities by the end of this century. So you can see why it's important to get our cities right. So if you have good architecture, you get beautiful buildings. If you have bold architecture, you get memorable buildings, but that's not necessarily what makes a great city. Implementing an understanding of the nature of social behavior and utilizing the technology we have available to us is a way to reach the tunnel of two-dimensional superficial design. Thank you very much.